we'll come back to what happened next. Chief, let's jump forward in time. And how did you first hear about this fire?
So most people in the FDNY are aware of this fire, right? I mean, just here, I've heard Dan say this story so many times, and it's just, I can't say enough about Dan and the folks that operated that fire. I mean, he even mentioned his light, right, which he had on. He thought it wasn't working, but the toxic smoke was so thick that it looked like it wasn't on. And they're in there. They're fighting a valiant effort. So I'd always known about it. I'm a student of the fire service. I read something fire related every day, and so I had known an awful lot about it. I read the book In the Mouth of the Dragon, written by Deborah Wallace, and when I read that book, it gave me a whole nother account of this fire, from the failure to adequately protect firefighters. Really, I mean, this was a precursor to modern contents, what's burning, how it's affecting firefighters today. It was certainly the model that we thought of when we were building the and Dan can speak more about this, when the 9/11 firefighters and how we track them to not fail in that account. But it wasn't until I heard Dan talking about it that I realized that there was no formal mechanism of honoring those firefighters. There was, he mentioned there was no plaque. And just as I was the chief of the fire academy so I heard him talking on another podcast, on the Getting Salty podcast, where he mentioned that there was no formal plaque. So I'm friends with the two guys that run that podcast, and I texted him and I said, I need Danny Noonan's phone number. And I called Danny the next day, and I'll never forget what he told me when I told him what I wanted to do. And he said, I've been waiting decades for this phone call.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
Dan has been an incredible ambassador for firefighter cancer, for early detection. He's an incredible ambassador as a member of the FDNY. And his persistence on this topic, and the fact that, he was talking about this for so long, and that it took that podcast for me to know that there was no formal recognition. And at the time I was the chief of the fire academy, and I was able to say, hey, we could make a wall, a training wall, and we'll do a documentary with you that will have part of that. And we'll make sure that every firefighter, current and future firefighter in New York City, knows the story of this fire and knows the importance of making sure that you use your protective equipment and best protect yourself. And like I said, Dan's been a champion of that for a very long time, and he deserves so many accolades for bringing this to everybody's attention, and certainly to my attention. Again, as a student of the fire service that I didn't recognize, I'm like, everybody knows about the New York telephone fire, and they do, but the fact that those responders don't have recognition for that, I think, was just a severe oversight on the department's part, and the fact that my superiors were all very supportive of doing it, and we're excited to finally see this later this month.